grandmother kept a perpetual calendar, so it has like the date but not the year.
Jen's video is hands down one of the best videos that I've seen, and let me tell you why. In the video, she is describing how her grandmother recorded family moments and events in a perpetual calendar, meaning the calendar has the day but not the year. And so when you look at it, you see all these different things that happen in their family on that day, no matter what the year. And I find this so interesting because I am doing something similar. For the past 20 years, my main hobby of interest has been genealogy and family history. I really enjoy researching and learning more about my ancestors and my extended family members. And in the past 6 months, as I've started doing junk journaling, for me, that is an extension of my family history work. Junk journaling is what I use for memory keeping and telling stories through those techniques. And back in the fall, I decided that I wanted to do something similar to what Jen's grandmother did. I wanted to keep a physical journal that's like a life index, is what I call mine, where it allows me to list things that have happened in my life, in my family member's life, on any given day. So I want to show you what I have started doing and a change that I've incorporated because I just think it's the coolest thing. So here is the life index that I am transitioning away from. This is actually my second iteration, but what I did was I got two journals. These are size B5, and I labeled them volume 1 and volume 2, and each journal covers 6 months of the year. And the idea behind it is that I would go to any day, and I did write in the date, so I had written in March 26th on this one. I would go to a day and start filling in events that happened on that day, and I would put the year at the beginning so I know what year it happened, but I didn't really care about the order. I just wanted to list the events, and so I would know all these things happened on, let's say, a March 26th. But this version of my index had two problems for me. The first problem is that this was too big. As I started using it, I felt this was too cumbersome, too bulky, too big, and I wanted something smaller. And the second problem is related to that. I didn't want it in 2 volumes. I wanted it in one, and I wanted to incorporate it in my newer approach that I'm using for my physical journals. I am in the midst of setting up several traveler notebook style journals. This is one of them. I have 4, and this is journal number 2. And this specifically is the set of journals I'm putting together to document and track things in an analog version for my genealogy and family history. So this is my genealogy and family history traveler's style notebook. And in the back of it, I have a Hobonichi Cousin. So I'm now using a Hobonichi Cousin from a life index. Let me show you how I am approaching it. I chose the Cousin because it does include every day of the year. And you may say, but Tania, it's dated. It's 2026 and you're talking about a perpetual calendar. Yes, I know that's the case. However, I specifically did not want the day-free version of the Hobonichi because I do want the days of the year written on the pages. So let me show you a little bit more insight and go through the process. Step 1 of my process for entering information into my life index, my perpetual calendar, is to actually use an index. Every entry that I put in here gets a unique number. Let me zoom in and show this to you. I am using the weekly view here in the Hobonichi to do this, and I'm ignoring any reference on this page to a specific day of the week. And of course, I'm ignoring the year. So you can see I have entries 1 through 48 in the first column, which is the week of December 29th, but I'm ignoring that, right? And then I've started continuing on the second column. I currently have 52 entries in this Hobonichi Cousin right now. So let me go ahead and add for you entry number 53. So here I have written the unique number 53, and then each number is followed by the month and the day where that entry lives. So March 26th is what I'm going to record for you. Now you'll see I have 5 other columns here. I'm not going to cover what I'm doing with this just yet. I'll make a separate video, but I do have these columns extended because I have other things that I'm doing after I get the entry in the Hobonichi Cousin, and this is going to allow me to track that. But entry number 53 is for March 26th. So let's do that next step. Step 2, now that I've put the index entry in, I now need to write the entry on the actual page for March 26th. Here is my entry, and what I've done is I have put in the unique number 53, the year 2006 and written the event, funeral of my grandmother, Cora Lawhorn Kuntz. So this is my paternal grandmother. She passed away in March 2006, and her funeral was March 26, 2006. So I wrote this down because that's an event that happened on this day in my family history. Now, the Hobonichi Cousin does have a monthly view. So here I'm going to be doing some junk journaling. And what I thought I would do is the first entry that I make on any page, I'll see if I can come up with some piece of ephemera or something to put on that day to represent that first entry. So here is March 26th, and the entry that I just made was for my grandmother's funeral. So I want to think about something I can put here from a junk journal perspective that reminds me of her. And I don't have anything right now to use, but I will be keeping my eye out in the future for things that I can put in here to represent her. But that's my goal here. For example, this is the 25th of March. My father and my stepmother got married on March 25th. That's their wedding anniversary. So I just copied in this book page ephemera of a couple getting married. So that's my intention here, is to junk journal these monthly spots with something that represents the first entry of whatever is on that day. The Hobonichi Cousin also has a yearly index, and I've already messed up, but my intention here is to do one word that represents the first entry in that spot. So you see here, I'll zoom in, because here is March 26th, and I put chewing gum, which was March 25th. I have a whole story about that and my parents' wedding. But on the 26th, I'd mistakenly put chewing gum here first, so it's crossed out. So I'll need to get some corrective tape, but I do want to replace this messed up entry that I have and put a word in that also reminds me of my grandmother. So that way, as I start filling up these days with entries, I'll just have one word that reminds me or helps me remember, or is a memory keeping device for things that have happened on that day. And that's pretty much the gist of it. I do have more in my process that I can show in a future video, but I love the idea that I'm doing this. It has already been so cool. I love that Jen has this example from her own grandmother, and doing a life index is a cool way just to see the history of your family. Let me know if you are trying something like this or what you think. But I'm excited to be sharing more in the future, and I invite you to follow me so you can see more of my junk journaling journey, as well as a few things here and there about family history. Happy crafting!